The story begins with a boxing coach named Cheol confronting the judging committee, accusing them of accepting bribes to deliberately cause the fighters he trains to lose their matches. One of the officials becomes furious at the accusation, calling Cheol a failure and attempting to attack him. However, Cheol defends himself and delivers a powerful punch to the man's stomach, knocking him to the ground. The committee decides to take revenge, and shortly afterward, a decision is issued to expel Cheol from the Boxing Federation and remove him from his position. Afterward, Cheol gets into his car and drives toward a poor rural village where he plans to start a new job as a teacher at a girls' school. On the way, his sister calls him, blaming him for what happened with the deputy of the judging committee and asking him to avoid causing trouble in his new job. Cheol reassures her, telling her that he is already on his way to the village. As he approaches the outskirts of the village, his car suddenly breaks down. He calls a tow truck for assistance, and while waiting, he notices a poster about a girl named Sion who has been missing for some time, with the search still ongoing. Shortly after, the tow truck arrives. Cheol returns to his car and continues his journey into the town. There, he sees a girl named Jin arguing with a group of other girls after they tear down the posters she had put up about her missing friend, Sion. Cheol steps in, trying to calm the situation and asking everyone to stay away from trouble. Soon after, a police officer named Sung arrives. He steps out of his car, warmly greets Cheol, and welcomes him to the village. Sung then reveals that he used to be one of Cheol's students, training under him at the boxing gym. Cheol is pleased and proud to see that his former student has become a police officer. Meanwhile, Jin visits Sion's grandmother to check on her and brings her medicine. It is revealed that Sion had been living with her grandmother ever since her parents died in a car accident. The grandmother expresses deep concern, explaining that a full month has passed since Sion disappeared without any news. Jin tries to comfort her, saying she has already reported the case to the police and that they will surely find her. Jin then enters Seon's room, where she notices a painting filled with butterflies, something Seon loved dearly. She recalls their moments together, remembering how they used to talk and wear matching butterfly bracelets. Shortly afterward, Jin finds a pendant engraved with the word Janos, which is the name of a nightclub in the village. She begins to suspect that Seon might have worked there and decides to go to the place, hoping to find any clue that could lead her to her missing friend. That night, Jin leaves Seon's grandmother's house and heads back home. Unbeknownst to her, a mysterious man follows her from a distance, carefully watching her movements, clearly planning to abduct her as well. Fortunately, a bus arrives at that exact moment, and she quickly gets on, narrowly escaping him. The next day, Cheol arrives at the new school where he will be working. The principal informs him that he will serve as the physical education teacher and will also be responsible for collecting overdue tuition fees from certain students. He then escorts Cheol to the teacher's room and introduces him to the staff. They see him as nothing more than an overweight and simple-minded man, unaware that he was once a formidable boxer. Afterward, the principal tells him that there is a list on his desk containing the names and photos of the students who have not yet paid their fees. Cheol then heads to the cafeteria to look for the students who haven't paid. There, he meets Gitai, the man who owns the school. Gitai welcomes him warmly. It is revealed that Gitai is extremely wealthy and is also a candidate running to become the mayor of the village. Cheol looks through the list of students and notices Jin's name among those who haven't paid their fees. He approaches her and asks her to settle the payment, then asks if she knows Seon, since Seon also hasn't paid and hasn't been seen at school. Jin tells him she will pay the amount next month and explains that Seon is her close friend who has been missing for an entire month and no one knows where she is. After that, she walks away. Later, Cheol enters the restroom and suddenly sees Jin jumping over the school fence, apparently trying to escape from something. He follows her and notices that she heads into a bar called Janos. Security guards immediately intervene and order her to leave. When Cheol arrives, he tries to calm the situation and escorts her out of the place. At that moment, one of the girls working at the bar notices them. Jin shows her a picture of Seon and asks if she recognizes her. The girl becomes nervous and denies knowing her, then says that a woman named Isel is in charge of the girls working at the bar and knows everything about them. However, it becomes clear that the girl is lying and is afraid to reveal the truth. Later that night, Jin talks to Cheol and tells him that she already reported Seon's disappearance to the police, but she discovered that they are not actively searching for her. and seem uninterested in the case. Cheol tries to calm her down and tells her that he will contact Officer Sung and personally follow up on the report. He then asks for her home address so he can drive her back. But Jin misunderstands his intention and thinks he also doesn't care about what's happening. Upset, she steps out of the car and walks away alone. While she is walking, a car slowly approaches her. A mysterious man steps out and tries to abduct her. He chases her down, eventually catching her and using a stun device to shock her, causing her to lose consciousness. At that moment, Cheol realizes that Jin left her phone in his car, so he turns back to return it. Suddenly, he spots the suspicious man and tries to pursue him with his car, but the criminal quickly escapes. Cheol immediately shifts his focus to Jin, finds her unconscious, and rushes her to the hospital. Police officers arrive to question her and assure her that they will follow up on the case and catch the criminal soon. However, Jin interrupts them, insisting that the attacker might be the same person who kidnapped her friend Seon. Despite this, the officers ignore her claim and leave without showing real concern. Afterward, Cheol speaks with Officer Sung and asks why the police seem uninterested in Seon's disappearance. Sung explains that the police are currently busy with the village mayoral elections and that many girls in the village often run away from home, so they assume Seon likely did the same. At this point, Cheol begins to feel that something mysterious and unsettling is happening behind the scenes in this village. The next morning, Cheol goes to Seon's grandmother's house and reassures her that he will personally search for her granddaughter and bring her back home. After calming her down, he heads to Officer Sung and hands him a written report about Seon's disappearance, insisting that it be forwarded to the prosecutor because he feels the police are deliberately ignoring the case. He then returns to the school. While walking through one of the hallways, he notices cigarette smoke coming from the girls' restroom. He opens the door, sends the students out, and begins inspecting the bathroom himself. During his search, he discovers a small hidden camera. Shocked, he immediately heads to the teacher's room and opens the computer belonging to the art teacher Kim. He is horrified to find numerous recordings of female students inside the restroom. It becomes clear that Kim had secretly installed the camera to spy on the girls. While going through the files, Cheol finds an old message from Seon sent on the day she disappeared, asking Kim to give her a ride in his car. At that moment, Cheol starts suspecting that Kim may be directly connected to Seon's disappearance. Meanwhile, Jin unknowingly gets into a car with teacher Kim, completely unaware of what Cheol has just discovered. Cheol calls Jin and warns her that the art teacher Kim may be connected to Seon's disappearance. She cannot respond because Kim is sitting beside her, so she secretly sends Cheol a message with her location. While the car is moving, Jin notices a butterfly-shaped keychain on Kim's keys, the same symbol Seon loved, which makes her even more suspicious. When the car stops at a traffic light, she tries to escape, but Kim hits her, knocking her unconscious. Minutes later, she wakes up tied inside Kim's house. Terrified, she looks around and spots Seon's phone, confirming that Kim is involved in her friend's disappearance. Meanwhile, Cheol receives Jin's location and rushes to the house. He breaks in by force. Kim tries to hide Jin behind a large painting that leads to a secret room, but Cheol catches him. After a brief fight, Cheol, being a former boxing coach, knocks Kim to the ground with powerful punches and forces him to confess. Kim admits that Seon asked him for a ride on the night she disappeared and seemed frightened. They stopped at a gas station where Seon made a phone call. When she returned, she told him someone else would pick her up. Feeling uneasy, Kim later went back, but she was gone. He only found her broken phone near an abandoned warehouse. Cheol doesn't believe Kim's story, especially since he never reported the incident to the police and instead kept quiet out of fear of suspicion. Moments later, the police stormed the house after receiving Jin's report, accusing Kim of attempting to kidnap her. Kim is arrested and taken to the station. Cheol hands Seon's phone to the investigator and asks him to repair it to check the last number she called before disappearing. However, the investigator dismisses him and orders him to leave, which makes Cheol suspect that someone is trying to cover up the case. He then turns to Officer Sung and asks him to fix the phone secretly. Meanwhile, the investigator calls a man named Jiang, the owner of the bar where Seon used to work, and informs him about the developments, including Cheol bringing the phone for repair. Jiang orders him to stop the phone from being fixed by any means. After that, the investigator meets the most dangerous figure, Kitai, the owner of the girls' school and a candidate for mayor. He updates him about Cheol's actions. Kitai becomes furious and assaults the investigator, At that moment, it is revealed that Kitai is the mastermind behind Seon's disappearance, using his money and influence to bribe the police and keep the case buried. When Cheol returns to school, he and another teacher read news about the scandal involving hidden cameras in the girls' restroom. He realizes that Jin was the one who leaked the story. He confronts her and scolds her, warning that she could get into serious trouble. But Jin replies that she isn't afraid. All that matters to her is finding Seon. Later, Cheol receives a summons to Kitai's office. The school owner, Kitai, pressures him to stop searching for Seon and even advises him to leave the village entirely. Cheol refuses. Feeling frustrated and unsure what to do, Cheol locks himself in his room. Suddenly, Officer Sung calls him with shocking news. A girl's body has been found under a bridge, and they suspect it might be Seon. Cheol rushes to the scene and finds Jin already there. When he sees the body, he confirms it is Seon. Overcome with anger and grief, he helps take her back home. However, upon arriving, they learn that Seon's grandmother collapsed after hearing the news. They immediately rush to check on her condition. At the same time, Officer Sung takes Seon's phone to get it repaired. The investigator sees him through a surveillance camera and becomes furious, knowing that fixing the phone could reveal the last number Seon called and possibly expose the killer. Sung successfully repairs the phone and calls Cheol, telling him that the last number Seon contacted belongs to Jiang, the bar owner where she used to work. He also mentions a message from a girl named Isel, who sounded extremely worried about Seon. Right after the call, Sung is ambushed by Jiang's men. They strike him on the head, steal Seon's phone, and flee. Cheol then goes to the bar and speaks with Isel to learn what happened the night Seon disappeared. She explains that Seon worked there as a singer. On that night, businessman Kitai was sitting in the bar with the police chief, attempting to bribe him to secure his victory in the mayoral election. During that time, Seon went to the restroom to call her sick grandmother and began crying. Kitai entered, and she begged him to let her leave to check on her grandmother. The police chief intervened and took Seon away, while Kitai confronted Jiang angrily for letting one of his students work at the bar. Jiang reassured him that Seon was only working to pay off her son's debts and wouldn't reveal any secrets. They then hear the police chief shouting and learn that Seon had hit him after he tried to assault her before running away. Furious, Jiang calls Seon to ask where she is. She tells him she's near a gas station and he orders her to stay there. Meanwhile, Isol sends Seon a message urging her not to run and reassuring her. Jiang and his men head out to find her. Cheol confronts them and asks to talk calmly, but they mock him and attack with baseball bats, unaware he's a professional boxing coach. Cheol explodes in anger, striking them with lightning-fast punches and knocking them down one by one. Terrified, Jiang pulls out a knife to threaten him, but Cheol quickly subdues him and demands to know if he killed Seon. Jiang denies it. He explains that he went to the gas station looking for Seon but couldn't find her. He noticed an abandoned warehouse nearby and went inside, only to discover a masked man strangling her. That attacker, he claimed, was Kitai's son. At the same time, Jin is in the hospital restroom when Kitai's son approaches her, chokes her unconscious, and kidnaps her. It is revealed that Kitai's son is actually the art teacher Kim. After leaving the bar, Cheol receives a call from Officer Sung, who tells him he was attacked and Seon's phone was stolen. He also informs him that Kim has been released from custody. Moments later, Jin's mother calls, saying Jin is no longer at the hospital. Cheol realizes Kim has kidnapped her and heads to his house to rescue her. Meanwhile, Jin wakes up inside Kim's secret room. Kim insists she misunderstood everything and claims he's not a criminal like his father. He recalls the day his father found Seon dead, took her phone from Jiang, smashed it, and beat him to avoid a scandal that could affect the election. It becomes clear that Kim suffers from psychological trauma due to his father's abusive behavior during childhood. Kyul arrives at the house and finds a painting hiding the entrance to the secret room. He opens it but doesn't find Kim. Instead, he notices another painting with an address written on it, so he rushes to that location. Meanwhile, Kim hears someone trying to open the secret room where Jin is held. He covers her mouth, chokes her to keep her quiet, then knocks her unconscious and hides her inside a closet. Moments later, his father Kitai enters and asks why he's hiding there. Kim is startled and struggles to answer. Kitai then tells him he plans to send him to America because the election results are near, and he doesn't want any scandal that could ruin his chances. Kim refuses, saying the school year isn't over, and he wants to stay to help the girls. Kitai becomes furious and accuses him of being a criminal and a killer. Kim insists he didn't kill Seon. It's then revealed that Kim actually tried to protect Seon from Jiang because he loved her. When he choked her, he was only trying to silence her so Jiang wouldn't find her. However, when Kitai arrived at the warehouse, Seon was still alive. She begged him to let her go and promised not to reveal anything. Instead, Kitai took her bag and strangled her himself, proving he was the real killer. Determined to protect his secret, angry, Kitai starts beating his son. Suddenly, he hears a noise from the closet where Jin is hidden and moves to open it. But at that moment, he receives a call from the police chief informing him that the election results are about to be announced, forcing him to leave the house in a hurry. Meanwhile, Kim tells Jin to come out of the closet and promises not to hurt her, but she refuses. When he opens it, she grabs a spray can, blinds him, and runs out. She ends up trapped in a locked hall. She hides under a table, but Kim spots her leg. At that moment, Cheel arrives and searches the house. In the hall, Kim smashes bottles in anger. Jin tries to escape, slips on the broken glass, and badly injures her leg. Hearing her scream, Cheel breaks in and finds her bleeding heavily. He removes the glass and presses cloth on the wound, but Kim suddenly attacks and stabs him in the abdomen. Furious, Kaeol beats him down. Kim begs for mercy, so Kaeol turns to help Jin, but Kim strikes again with a stick. Cheel responds with a final punch that knocks him unconscious. Cheel carries Jin to his car and rushes to the hospital despite his own injury. On the way, Jin reveals that Kitai, not Kim, killed Seon. Shocked, Cheel heads to the hospital, where he sees on TV that Kitai has won the election and become mayor. Determined to stop him, Cheel drives straight to confront Kitai. He crashes into his car, knocks down the driver, and approaches him. Kitai arrogantly boasts about his new power, but police cars arrive. Kitai assumes they came to arrest Cheol, only to be stunned when they arrest him instead. Cheol learns that Officer Sung reported everything to the prosecutor, leading to warrants for Kitai and his son Kim. The next day, Cheol visits Jin in the hospital, then leaves the village and returns to his hometown, ready to start a new life.